Aloha, everybody. My name is Ameera Atlantis, and welcome to my video on the return of the Titans and discernment. So I was inspired to create this video after the events, the events that's just happened a month or so ago in December between the 12/12 Gateway of 2021 and the 12/21 Gateway, the solstice of this last year. And maybe you know, maybe you're not aware, we experience what I call, or I've been told, is the return of the Titans. So some of you might remember the 1980s movie, The Clash of the Titans, with the mythological gods and goddesses and all the drama and, the experiences of, the Kraken. So that is a representation of who the Titans are, or the beings we call the Titans. So I want to take that and go a little bit deeper into who the mythological gods and goddesses known as the Titans truly are, and how they are affecting and helping humanity, helping to raise the consciousness of Atlantis, and helping us all to step deeper into what is our true power as, meta-humans. So the Titans are also known as the Antediluvian Kings and Queens. Antediluvian is a word that refers to before the biblical flood. So one of the things we know is before the biblical flood of Noah, there was the great kingdom of Atlantis. And we know that there were many great beings, gods and goddesses, who were in charge of bringing together forming the land, forming the communities, and really helping, the Atlanteans, who were all new to a human body, helping them get together their cities and their communities and plan their gardens, and just provided the overall wisdom and knowledge for these new human beings to come in and create this successful environment, this land known as Atlantis. So the Titans would be Poseidon and Amphitrite, would be Zeus and Hera, would be Apollo and Aphrodite. So all the great beings that you hear about in mythology, Isis and Osiris, many of those beings were present, of course, way before the biblical flood, and took a really big part in participating in the human experience on Atlantis. So if you're familiar with any of my videos, you know that I am a teacher of sovereignty, and also of connecting people, connecting you and I, all of us, to the energy of our oversoul. Our oversoul is that overlighting presence, or that soul stream, that stream of energy that we come from here in the body you're experiencing now. And our oversoul has many, many fragments and fractions and parts to it. It's kind of like a giant sun with many, many rays of light. The sun has many, many rays of light that are evenly distributed throughout time and space, and through, enough of it comes to Earth so that the rays of the sun can warm the Earth without, blowing the earth up, because God's pretty smart, and he recognized that if there was going to be, a sun to grow the crops and warm the Earth, that all the energy couldn't come to the Earth, or the Earth wouldn't be able to handle all that heat and all that fire. So the sun, the rays of the sun, are distributed around the cosmos in such a way that we get to survive here and enjoy the warmth of the Earth. So your oversoul is kind of like the same. You can use the analogy as the sun. Your oversoul is this vast, this very vast organism, this very vast piece of you that streams just enough light down from it to Earth so that you can hold the energy of your oversoul in your human body. And the other parts of you, of course, are in other dimensions, realities, universes, planets, having some other kind of an experience, and they are all parts of you. They're all parts of the whole. So my oversoul is connected directly to Yemaya, who can also be known as Amphitrite, who is Poseidon's wife or Poseidon's beloved. I feel very connected to the energy of Yemaya, who is the ocean mother goddess. She is the mother of all the fishes, and in Christian mythology, she is known as Mother Mary. She wears the blue and the white. Mother Mary is known as the Queen of Heaven and Earth. Yemaya is known as, the Queen of the Seas or the Star of the Sea. So mythology, when you understand mythology, how it really works and how it's layered throughout many different cosmologies, and how the Egyptian, the Greek, the Roman cosmologies all have a story or their version of a mythical god and goddess or a god and goddess pair that explains, the creation of their civilization and, the archetypes of their civilization. So when I speak about the antediluvian gods and goddesses, you can take someone like Isis and Osiris and you can overlay that Egyptian mythology with, some of the other cosmologies who had the same energies under different names. So back to the topic, back to the Titans and their influence and their return. Their return came through this portal that we just experienced on 12/12 through 12/21. I was told about a year ago in a channeling with my dear friend Leanne, through Poseidon, actually, that the Titans would be returning at this time, quite literally. So when I mean literally, I mean, are they here on the earth, walking among us? Absolutely, yes. I had an experience at the beach during that portal. I had an experience on the west side of the beach where the sun went down and I actually saw the rise of them through cloud formations coming up over the horizon. I saw the outline of all the Titans, and there were many, many, many of them. There were, dozens and dozens of them gathered around, showing themselves to me and showing me that literally they are here serving as energetic protectors for this time. Their love for humanity, their love to influence and help and, stand up with humanity is being actualized on this planet. So not only are they here in a little formation coming through time and space and through the earth dimension, they are also rising within each one of us. So not only do I have an association with a Titan, so do you. We all emanate from what's called, the 144,000 souls of light. And when you hear about the 144,000 who are here, the vibrational changers, the one who are here to transform the new earth Atlantis, the ones that were sent by God to help, that is all of us who are awakened and moving and acting and participating and actively co-creating the new earth Atlantis. The 144,000 souls originally came through, the Vesica Pisces, when Prime Creator, the wholeness of Prime Creator decided to separate itself and experience duality and experience more of itself through expansion, because, in order to create, creation requires a form of expansion, right? The Vesica Pisces was formed, which is the two interlocking circles coming from one, moving into two, right? Duality, male, female. And then the center point is where the 144,000 souls, the original twins, were birthed. And sometimes we can refer to them as, as the Titans. We can refer to them as the 144,000, angels of God. So when these oversouls came into formation, you and I are a part of that expansion process, a part of our soul. Your soul is a part of some great being that actually is you. And when I talk about a great being, I want you to understand it's not something that is actually outside of you. It's something you are a part of. Just as we are all part of Prime Creator, we are like, gods and goddesses literally embodied, just kind of trying to remember who we are, what we're doing here, and trying to remember source energy and remember that as the essence of our being, we are also literally part of these beings sent to Earth, volunteering for Earth, maybe, in a little bit of a veil of forgetfulness. And there's a tendency for all of us, for many of us, to think of you know, the gods and the goddesses, the angels. They're being something bigger, greater than us, and something outside of us. And what I really want you to know is that there is no separation between you and Source. There is no separation between me and Source except those veils of forgetfulness, or maybe the sense of sometimes unworthiness that we carry, because we're here having these very human experiences that are sometimes kind of difficult, kind of painful. We've got our karma, you know, and we've got all those programs really that tell us that, you know, there is something or someone greater than we are that we have to aspire to. And if that's part of your programming, I really want to help you break that down and recognize that you were never separate or intended to be separate from Prime Creator. And as we go through our process of healing our karma and really realizing, you know, our worthiness and the God and Goddess within, you and I, we're the ones here who are boots on the ground, you know, doing the work, right? Doing all the work. So who really is the great being? Who really is the, you know, the higher being? In my opinion, it's us. We're the ones with the courage. You know, we're the ones who came here to do this great earth shift. So when you think about the magnificence of your soul and you think about the worthiness of your soul, I really am going to encourage you to claim the elegance and the beauty and the worthiness and all those qualities that, you know, don't see them outside of you, see them within you, and something we're trying to remember. Which brings me back around to my point about my being connected to Yemaya. And this is something very, very important. I see a lot of people. I see sometimes people out in the world who have an affiliation with a particular archangel or a particular god and goddess, and they really feel that embodied energy, and they feel they are part of that embodied energy, which is great. I think that's exactly in alignment with what we are supposed to be doing. But I can tell you that as much as I am a part of Yemaya and a part of that Amphitrite, Poseidon's beloved energy, I also realize that Yemaya has many women, maybe some men too, many beings alive on this planet at this time that are part of her oversoul. I have the humility to know that although, yes, I am deeply connected to an aspect of her mission and an aspect of her energy, that I'm not the only one. That there are many, many women who have the assignment, who hold her energy and are also part of her oversoul. If you or I were to take on the full-blown energy of, you know, of a god or a goddess or an archangel, their energy is so immense that there would be no way that we could hold all those energetics in our physical being. Our physical being would essentially implode. Just like if the sun were to send all its streams of light straight to Earth, right? What would happen to the Earth? It wouldn't be able to hold all that energy. If these beings held their entire essence in me or in you, okay, we couldn't function here on Earth. The human body at this time is not physiologically equipped or even mentally and emotionally equipped to take on the full essence of that incarnation. So when you think about you being an incarnated version of something, or me being an incarnated version of someone, keep in mind that there are many, many here holding that energy, because, you know, the messages, you know, and I'll even use the example of Mary Magdalene. Mary Magdalene's message as the beloved Christ energy, you know, as the feminine Christ, was so huge that one person could not possibly carry that message to all of humanity. Okay, so the essence or the oversoul of Mary Magdalene split her aspects up into many, many women on this planet who are carrying forward her energy and her message, because it made more sense to reach more people, first of all, that way, right, than just one being. And because individually, you and I, we're working through our karma, we're working through our earthly stuff, we're working to move into our dharma. And, that's a many lifetime process or project that we've all taken on. And one of the things I can really happily tell you is I really feel that so many of us, we're cleaning up our karmic acts, we're cleaning up our relationships, we're clearing off our sense of worthiness, and we are officially healing up our karma, our ancestry stuff, maybe that we came to experience, direct family, tribal stuff, which is really, 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 really deep and many lifetimes thick. And we are moving into a dharmic state, which is our life is not going to be all about karma anymore. It's going to be about dharma, which is our service, our higher service to the planet. The Titans have returned to remind you and me through a deeper integration of them with us that we can now step off our karmic patterns and more fully embody, their energies, their magnificence, their truth, their wisdom, and step deeper into our dharmic cycles. And the dharma for me, and I think for many of you too, is to do whatever you can to help create the new earth Atlantis, right? So we have the Atlantean kings and queens, the antediluvian gods and goddesses who are stepping in more fully into this reality, not to interfere, not to insert their will, but simply to join with us, if we so desire, to activate within us, those deeper precious seeds of magnificence and wisdom and glory, and to help return this planet back to the new Earth Atlantean state. Now, how long is that going to take? Can't really tell you that. It has been 13,000 years since the fall of the last golden age of Atlantis. We've gone through the centrifugal center point that happened at the Grand Conjunction on the solstice, December solstice 2020. It's not going to take 13,000 years to reverse and course correct. We're in that process now. And even though it looks like maybe things are essentially getting a little bit worse than getting better, do know that the breakdowns that we're going to be experiencing, that we have been, and that we will continue to experience, the dismantling in all of society, is a part of the course correction. So even when it feels like things are getting worse and harder, and that the so-called darker forces are making things much more difficult in our efforts, I'm really here to remind you that the fifth, sixth dimensional earth templates have already been set, and that many of us, despite the goings on in the world, are really, really aware that there is a new earth that has been created. There's a new frequency of vibration that we can tune our radio dial to and participate in what is being created and observe what is being dismantled without going into the fear or being that, that in between, kind of one foot in both worlds, living in the third, living in the fifth, sixth dimension, and step fully off into the higher realms. And, that takes a great deal of courage, takes a lot of surrender. It takes a intense trust in God and in the divine plan. It takes an intense trust in your soul mission here. So if you're finding since the first of the year that something has just landed that has allowed you to step out any fears that you might have and change your lives, your careers, your relationships, or giving you a stronger sense of who you are and what you are here to do, that's Titan energy. That's your inner Titan coming in and just creating a home to bring you home. If you would like any more help with anything that we've talked about, you can find me at ameeraatlantis.com. Past life regression therapy, soul progressions, intuitive readings, and Atlantean Lemurian reconnection sessions, as well as a whole bunch of classes that I have available online. Welcome, happy to meet with you in person, go a little bit deeper into whatever it is in particular you are thinking about or working through. This is my purpose, my mission in life, to model for others the full understanding and the full acceptance of, I really do know who I am as an emissary of God and as an extension of Yamaya, Queen of the Fishes, Mother of the Seven Seas. I really have a working understanding of that. And there's one thing to believe in who you are. That's one thing. When you accept who you are, when you really accept who you are with grace and with humility, and with great power comes great responsibility, right? When you step into this not as an idea, but as a truth with that wisdom, and with that amount of grace, you're going to find that you're capable of all the things you think you're supposed to be doing here. You really are, and those things will begin to set in motion with your acceptance and with your sacred yes. Thank you, all of you, for listening to this listening to this transmission. I send you oceans of aloha, and thank you for allowing me to express myself.